Well, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to today's Wednesday webinar, the third Wednesday of the month. We're talking juniors and cadets, and this week we're talking about let's get together. And of course, I hear the parenthood. Let's get together, yeah, yeah, yeah. And don't get me started because I will sing the whole thing, and really the Haley Mills version rather than the Lindsay Lohan version. I don't know if she even sings that song in the Lindsay Lohan version, but Haley Mills. Anyway, we're looking at keeping girls feeling connected to their troops, especially at the junior and cadet level through the summer. And for some troops, that's super easy. They just have set a cultural norm of continuing to meet through the summer. And for other troops, they haven't done that when the girls were younger, but now they've got a little more anxiety about the girls coming back in the fall. And so they're trying to figure out how to keep girls connected. And really at the junior and cadet level, it's the best of times, it's the worst of times. Yeah, it's the easiest thing in the world to do, and it's the hardest thing in the world to do, depending on social dynamics and uh, where you're really willing to take a risk. So one of the things that lots of leaders have found is that starting fourth and fifth grade, girls are getting I don't want to say pushier because it's not that they impose their ideas and views necessarily anymore on people, but they start pushing people away and doing more comparison of themselves to other people. And it's a normal psychological development thing. But from the outside, it can look like some of our precious little humans are turning into angry little porcupines toward each other, if not toward us, or toward us, if not toward each other. And so it's hard to approach that. And often, as adults, as parents, as Girl Scout leaders, we'll think, if she doesn't want to do that, then I guess I'm not going to press it. I'm not going to make her do it. And I think there's a difference between pressing and making, but some people would say it's a hairline difference. I think it's really a big difference, because how do you make somebody who's almost as big as you do anything? But you can press it, just like when somebody who's 10, 11, 12, 13 tells me she doesn't want to eat broccoli or salad ever, or any kind of vegetable. I'll say, oh, that's crazy, because this is good for you, and let's see if we can find a way that you're gonna like the taste of it, and you help me figure out how we're going to make something that you can like the taste of. So kind of the same thing with juniors and cadets and getting them together for any activities, but certainly activities over the summer. They're suddenly, so that's the worst of times thing. Sometimes they feel a little prickly, or they're busy with lots of things, and so it's hard to get everybody together. The best of time parts of things is that they are suddenly so capable. 10, 11, 12, 13, they can do amazing things. They've just had this physical growth spurt. There are two physical growth spurts in that stretch of 5 years or so. And then there are also some mental growth spurts that happen in that period, making them, which is part of why they become so prickly. They suddenly see more of the world. They see more depth, more color to the world, not literally, very figuratively. But they notice differences, and they're capable of doing more. It's never unusual for a child to not be able to read, say, until she's 8 or 9 years old, and then boom, 8 or 9, oh yeah, she can read. It's never unusual for a child to not be able to ride a bicycle until 8 or 9 years old, and then suddenly, boom, they learn how to do it. Now you're saying 8 or 9, that's more brownies. Well, yeah, but by 10, they aren't only able to do it, they're good at it. They're good at reading. They're reading novels at that level. They're doing multiplication and division, and really without even thinking often by the time they're in fourth and fifth grade. They're able to hold a conversation with a person that has some depth to it, that works around concepts. And they're able to climb mountains. They're able to do stuff. They're still little girls in a lot of ways, but they are capable of doing so much more than they were before. So it's a great time to pick up some activities for them that where you might not meet every week, you might do something a little bit bigger. Like this list of things that I was brainstorming based on past experience and observations. Having a sleepover is always fun. In fact, lots of girls that I've met have enjoyed doing the sleepover in the backyard kind of thing. There might be some requirements for the adults associated with that if it's outdoors, but sleep over in the basement, sleep over in the rec room, or on the porch. Those are other options where they've got the bathroom and the indoor kitchen and all of that. Uh, Getting together for dinner and making a vision board for the coming year. Who doesn't like making a vision board? That's just fun. And really, what is that? It's setting goals and even setting goals and making agreements for the coming year, but you do it with pictures of things you want to do and big statements of things you want to do and what they want to be a year from now. And people like Two Broke Girls, I know that they talked about vision boards a lot in the first year, and I don't watch the show regularly enough to know all the things they did with it, but I remember seeing those two pretty girls creating vision boards for their cupcake business. You might do a drive-in. I love doing a drive-in because it's obviously the girls don't drive because they're kids, but on the side of the house outside, if you can borrow a projector from somebody and connect it to your laptop or your tablet and watch a movie up on the side of the house. Or maybe somebody in the troop has a big screen TV and you go over and instead of having a car, each girl might have a box that she's decorated to look like a car and she can sit in her box, or maybe they've rolled out sleeping bags or whatever, but they watch the drive-in movie and play it up with, if you can find on YouTube the let's go out to the, what is it? Let's go out to the, that place where you get treats, concession stand. And they had those, it was in Greece. You saw it in Greece, with the soda pop and the hot dogs and the French fries dancing together. Something to make it fun. You might do a swim party. I know at the local Y's, they often have time where you can rent the pool or rent pool time for a period, and they'll have a lifeguard on duty, which is great. Or maybe you have a lifeguard associated with your troop who's willing to go to a beach with the troop and do a swim party. That's always fun in the middle of summer. I know yesterday and the day before were quite warm, and it would have been great fun. If your troop is on Facebook, certainly those cadets, they're probably on Facebook or maybe Twitter or some other social media, or they have cell phones so you can send them text messages. Just a little, hi, thinking about you, how you doing? Can hardly wait for next year, whatever. Quick little hellos, maybe even just an emoji, and, pass it on in the troop and have people pass text messages. Sending postcards is great fun, whether you stay home all summer or you travel to amazing places. Wherever you go, you might even just go to the next town over, but sending a postcard is a lot of fun. And we have so many tourist places in the state of Maine. It's pretty easy to find a postcard, because a place that we think of as totally normal, somebody coming from away thinks of as a tourist destination. So grab a postcard and send it to your girls over the summertime. Catching a ball game. We have the Portland Sea Dogs, and I feel like there's another AAA team in the state, but I am not a baseball connoisseur, and so I'm sorry if I'm uneducated on that. But even if you caught a Little League game or a softball, a teen softball game, maybe that one of your girls is participating in or has an older sibling participating in, it's fun to go to a ball game. And again, there are hot dogs, and I'm a vegetarian, but I like it when people are eating hot dogs for some reason. I don't eat them, but I like when other people are because they're having fun. They're happy. Having a family cookout, speaking of hot dogs and burgers, bring in those veggie burgers. Doing a family cookout where you invite the families to come over, or maybe you get together at the regular meeting place and kind of a potluck, but it's outdoors. If people can bring small grills that they can do a family cookout, it's like a tailgate party. Or if there's a local festival in your community, like last weekend in my town, we had Moxie. And I know this weekend coming up, there's the Potato Blossom Festival up in the county, and There's the Clam Festival down here in Yarmouth, and there are probably others that I don't know about. But agreeing to get together to share a fruit cup or something at the local festival just to check in with each other, not to spend the whole day together necessarily, but to check in or have lunch together or sit together during the parade. What are some other ideas? Are there other ideas that you have that you've done and or that you know your girls might be interested in? Bringing those ideas to the party is a lot of fun because things that maybe your troop has done for years and years, or you've known troops in your service unit who've done them for years and years, other service units have never heard of it. So sharing those ideas on the GSME volunteer swap is really helpful. Another place that I've gone to get ideas, and I think I suggest it every week because, well, my husband says it's an addiction. I don't think it's an addiction. I think it's just, I really like exploring on Pinterest, and it's like shopping, but not shopping. You know what I mean? If you've been on Pinterest, you do know what I mean. I'm typing in Junior Girl Scouts to Pinterest so that I can move that over to the screen for you to see. Just lots and lots of great ideas for specifically for juniors, and really some of these would be great for cadets as well. This one, Teen Role Models with 24 free printables. You know, some of the things you wouldn't necessarily want to do over the summer. Some of the things are definitely in-year things, but some would be fun during the summer, like this geocaching. How fun would that be? Do you know we have a geocache thing here at the GSME office in South Portland? I can't tell you exactly where it is, but if you come trolling around the parking lot, you might find it just by happenstance. You can find it by going on to geocache locations in Maine. Google that and it will give you some and you will find it. It's fun. I think I've mentioned before, sometimes we'll look out in the parking lot and there'll be people walking around the parking lot. What are you doing? And then sure enough, that's what they're doing. Or maybe you'll want to try doing something like this, a journey in a day. Now, I am not an advocate for a journey in a day because journeys are big, but getting it started in a day, getting some good progress in a day, and then expanding over time, because you wouldn't be able to finish the Take Action project in that same day that you did activities. But if you could get a good enough bite into a journey, suddenly everything flows and it's enough to get you over the hump of it's feeling like work and it's just being fun and exciting. And so, lots of neat things, and this will phase into, look at how long and strong your hair will grow. I'm not sure how that's a junior thing, but it will move into cadets. This is one of my favorite activities, making little change purses and things out of juice boxes, and you can make tote bags out of animal food bags, the big animal food bags. But this is some simple sewing that junior and cadet girls suddenly have the manual dexterity to do, and they have fun with it. One troop I know put boxes out at the elementary school and asked people to donate their little pouches from their drinks that they would bring in their snacks so that they could collect them and make purses and tote bags and wallets like this. And then I think they donated them. I'm not sure what they did. They might have sold them to earn money. But it's a super cute idea, and it's super simple sewing, which not everybody knows how to do. I know one time we made pajama pants in one of the troops I worked with, and the moms came to kind of help the girls with the sewing, but most of the moms didn't know how to sew. So it was really interesting. They were helping the girls because they were managing these big machines that might go fast, might go slow. But then by the end of the project, the moms were asking, can we do a sewing night for us so we can practice some of those basic skills? I just pulled up this one because I think these guys might have made, oh, I can't see the picture well enough. It looks like they might have made pajama bottoms, though. Yeah, they held a pajama party. So fun stuff. But I'm not selling Pinterest. I'm just saying it's a terrific resource. So, and the GSME volunteer swap. Let me pull that up too. What about you? Do you have any ideas?
Sorry, Dawn, I had you on mute there.
Oh, that's okay.
I think it's just you and me on the phone.
I think it might be two, but two great minds are twice as good as one, that's for sure.
Yes, yes. I happened to see this on Facebook, and I thought, oh, well, this is perfect because I'm always looking for good ideas for cadets. So our troop this year is going to be, it's the cadet troop. We have one junior, she's a fifth grader because she's a
Right.
younger sister.
Right.
We actually ended up combining two troops together.
Nice.
What I'm finding that's kind of hard is, of course, they're seventh grade girls. They don't all get along.
Right.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of prickly going on. So I'm finding it very difficult to get them to be girl-led. So we ask them for their ideas of what they want to do, and then put it out there as far as, okay, this is what we are doing, and if you come, you come, and if you don't, you don't.
Right.
But yeah, I love these ideas. We did a hike. We did a backyard sleepover just recently, and the girls loved it.
Nice. And hikes are always fun. I think anything physical, because that age group doesn't get nearly enough physical activity for what their bodies really want. You know, their heads say they don't want it, but their bodies really do want it. And a hike doesn't necessarily feel hard. You know, it's pretty and it's fun, and some people.
Oh, there was a lot of complaining.
Of course.
Of course. Yeah. And I kept trying to explain. I said, sometimes it's the after you do it, the ability to say, oh, yeah, I hiked that mountain, that's better than the actual doing of it.
Exactly. Well, and I always think back to that broccoli thing of, I wouldn't let kids get out of eating healthy food just because they complained about it, because there's a period in our lives where each of us just complains a lot. and a lot of parents will run at that point. They're like, oh, my kid hates me, so why would I spend more time with them? They must be big enough. They're the same size as me. But really, that's the time when kids need grown-ups so much. And it's one of those realities that we don't share in our culture enough, that, they want us to love them. They want us to approve of them, no matter what they're doing or how much they're trying to push our buttons. And they want us to like them. And so, proposing things that we know are good for them, but, don't taste like liniment oil, but are really good. Like, I might not take a troop that complains about hiking on Mount Washington, because that's a really, really hard hike. But, Bradbury Mountain, or some of the low-level hikes in Baxter or Acadia, they're beautiful hikes all over the state. And, they complain, but what was your favorite thing? Oh, the end. Okay, great. What did we do at the end? We got ice cream. Woohoo. Okay, next hike, we're getting ice cream too.
That works.
Well, that's actually how I bribed my family to help me get ready for a big hike I was taking a couple of years ago. It's like, I've got to go on like 7 hikes before I'm ready to do Katahdin, so I need you to go. And they're like, ugh. And I said, there will be ice cream at the end every single time. And by the 3rd hike, there were no complaints. In fact, this year, my daughter said, we've got to do some hiking this year. I want to do some hiking. And it's not because of anything, but just because she had fun when we were doing all those preparatory hikes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So it took 2 years for her to make that suggestion. So, and she, I think of her as pretty savvy, but no, she was a teenager. And it eventually comes around. So, I think the hardest part of the junior and cadet years is the leaders staying sane and trusting that they're still beautiful little babies.
Yes, yes. Yeah, we lost a couple of girls, and like I said, we're combining. I've had 2 troops for quite a few years, and so we've combined the 2 troops. And I think this year, really, our plan is just to do community service.
Oh, that's
nice. We're not even going to have set meetings. It's going to be, we're going to go once a month and do community service, and that's it.
That's nice.
But I do want to find out, I want to get them started on thinking about a silver award. Is there someone from the Girl Scout office that could come and talk to them about a silver award?
Kirsten Powell does trainings for silver, and seventh grade is a perfect time to do it because sixth grade it's still kind of fuzzy, but seventh graders, especially at the beginning of the year, because that gives them 2 full school years to think about it, plan it, do it. To do a silver project, they do need to do a journey.
Yep.
And mainly because the journey at the teen level is really set up in the same way that you would put together one of those big projects. So it helps prepare the girls as part of that progression step thing that we encourage in all parts of Girl Scouting. But if you email Kirsten at kpowell, so KPOWELL at gsmaine.org, and I can type that into, it just occurred to me, I have the power. I can type that into this page right here. She is terrific, and she can set up, or either let you know when she's already got something scheduled, or set up a time where she could meet with you. Well, now I'm assuming you're in the southern part of the state. Are you in the southern part of the state?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah. Then she's your girl. See, you could even click on that and it will set up an email page. We live in magical times, Jen.
No, it won't let me click on it.
Oh, it won't? No, that's too bad. Never mind.
But that's okay. Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really, it's a good training because it really takes the girls through lots of the steps, and it reinforces the value of doing one of the journeys. And if your girls like doing community service, which of those badges? The Amaze journey, it does a lot of repetition of what girls typically do in 6th and 7th grade at the school, because lots of middle schools do team building, ice breaking kind of stuff. And so it's repetitive of some of that stuff. But what I found with girls who had done it all day at school, because the first few weeks of school, teachers especially spend time on ice breaking and team building. If they said, oh, we've done this, we do this, blah, 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 then I would say, great, tell me about it. And I would kind of do a debrief with them, like, tell me what you did and what was that like and how did that feel, and, how did you feel at the end of it compared to how you felt at the beginning of it, and why in the world would you do that? What were some things you got out of it? It's so that they were still picking up on the learning from that they maybe had or maybe hadn't picked up at school. And then I would check it off in the book, because if they've done it and they get it, then they've done it and they get it. And if they didn't get it, then I would figure out, in the next couple of meetings, how to weave something in that would help them get those ideas. Or I would invite them to come up with ways that might better help them get those ideas. Like just say, wow, my takeaway from that is that it's nice to do for other people what you want them to do for you. So if you want other people to talk to you, it's nice to talk to them first. And if they wouldn't get it, then okay, so how can you help me help you understand that? And we'd play that kind of game of, help me create this for you. And they would really have fun with that. And if you're spending time on community service, if that's going to be your primary focus for the coming year, that's a perfect tie-in with that whole Amaze, because Amaze is about making connections with other people. So, yeah. So where they're not getting along with each other, if they are making the connections with the people they're helping, that might be the bridge to helping them recognize connections that they have with each other. And it might give you just the meat you need to help them see that. Just like 3-year-olds don't play with each other, they play in parallel. Sometimes 7th graders do the same thing, and they just need someone to point out that, you're doing the same thing, and it's really great. Maybe if you collaborated, you could do even more.
Yeah, and I want to kind of start out with getting the information of the Silver Award to see who even wants to do it.
Right.
And then those are the girls that I want them to will do the journey. And it'll kind of almost separate off from the Girl Scout troop.
Right.
Because I don't, like you said, you can't force them to do something they don't want to do.
Right.
And I don't want to take up time trying to get 12 girls to do a journey when only 5 of them are really interested in it.
Right. I
Yeah.
strongly encourage you to look at the adult guide of the journey first and think how you might be strategic with it, because one of the things where kids at that age are often resistant, one of the tricks that we picked up with some of the teen troops that a bunch of us worked with was that if you did some of the activities without their realizing that it was part of the journey, that,
Oh, yeah.
and you kind of backdoor them into the journey, and then afterwards, you nonchalantly are flipping through the journey. Hey, girls, did you realize we did this, this, and this? And it was part of this journey too. What a coincidence. Not that you're lying, but that you're facilitating their liking it. It's that child psychology thing they used to talk about on sitcoms all the time in the 60s. And that often would work because they'd realize, oh, we've already done some of it. We might as well finish.
Yeah.
You're going to know your girls best, but some of those little tricks that I'm sure you did with your kids when they were 3, 4, and 5, they come back and are helpful later.
I agree.
And the nice thing is they don't usually bite when they're in 7th grade. So you've got progress, yay, and yeah, sometimes there's regression, but there's so much great energy there that if you can get past the hurt, because sometimes they make it personal, then it's fun, and they're terrific. I'm excited to see what you do with community service. What are some of the first things that you all have talked about?
Well, for the past, I guess it's been 2 years, we've done a 5K in October. And so this year we're actually going to see if we can pass out water, collect registrations,
Nice.
Volunteer for that. And that's for Gramtastic.
Oh, good. Yeah.
If you've seen them on the news. And then they do a banquet silent auction in March, so we want to help out with that as well.
Nice.
We'll do the Ronald McDonald House. We have 2 girls that this past year, part of their 5th grade elementary class, they volunteered at Gorham House.
Nice.
So they want to take the troop there and do a volunteer at Gorham House. I've got a list written down. There was a couple other things that they wanted to do, beach cleanup, because we live in Lake Arrowhead, so we have beaches all around. So they wanted to do a beach cleanup, just trash cleanup.
Be sure you check the safety activity checkpoints on that, because I know that you've got to have gloves, and there are a couple of little things you want to be sure you have just to protect the girls from picking up any diseases or anything.
Right, yeah, because we've done trash cleanup every year.
Oh, yeah, so you're familiar with it.
So we're familiar with that.
Nice.
I actually got contacted by, a local nonprofit organization that has land, a trust, and they have hikes, and they wanted to know if we could help with repairing some of their signs.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, so, and that was part of, I didn't know if something along the lines of that, working with that organization and redoing their signs, and they also wanted to remap their hiking trails, which you would take a smartphone and walk the trail and then make the map and then have those printed out.
Yeah.
Could that be included in part of the Silver Award?
That could be, depending on how, it's very much how you write it up. So you'll want to look at the outline for Silver Projects with the girls, and if that's something that they're really passionate about, because remember the Silver Project, it's like a 65-hour, and don't quote me because that number might be off, but I want to say it was 65 hours for Silver Projects per girl invested in it. So they spend a lot of time working on these big projects to really make a difference. But I've seen other projects that have done things like that have helped another organization like this land trust with exactly this kind of thing, because it has a sustainability. It's going to continue on, and the folks at the land trust will continue to take care of the signs, and people will continue to use the trails and things. So yeah, it has that sustainability part, which is great, It would have an opportunity for girls to manage other people because they could bring in their friends to help volunteer with them. And so, and
Right.
that's a key part. So as you go to the training with Kirsten, you would want the girls to bring it up to her so she recognizes that the girls are really interested in it. And when grown-ups bring it up, then there's always the suspicion of, is this a grown-up imposing an idea on these kids, and they're going to do it, but but it didn't really come from them. But if they're talking about it and they talk about what they're excited about, that helps everybody know that whether it came from an adult or it came from a girl, it's now the girl's idea and the girls are passionate about it.
Okay, that makes sense.
And it's all part of that girl leadership thing. We talk about girl led, and I was talking with a couple of other volunteers yesterday about how some people they think of girl led because we say in our trainings, by the time girls are cadets, they're going to be leading their own meetings, and so those leaders will be super on top of everything leaders through 5th grade, and then the first day the girls start 6th grade, they're like, okay, now you're going to do everything, where they haven't facilitated the girls along. And you're in those key years, those junior cadet years, where it's that transition time. And so they probably could do it all, but they don't believe they could do it all. So the leaders are facilitating things. So the leaders do bring ideas or connections to them. And then the girls have that opportunity to go, yeah, I love that, and I want to do this, or we could do this with it, and then people would like it, and they get excited about it, and that's where the grown-up steps back a couple of steps and goes, yay, but quietly and out of the way. So the girls at that point suddenly believe it was 100% their idea. Yay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There are hard times.
I agree. It is kind of a rough time period, a rough age, and they're pretty headstrong.
Yeah. Which is good. That means they're healthy and they're exactly on course psychologically. But it's kind of like how they feel about the hike. After the hike, they look back and they go, hey, that was really fun. It was so pretty up there. After they get into high school and they've become nice people again, then you're like, wow, that was really fun.
Well, and of course now they're all into social media, so they all took a picture at the top of the mountain.
Exactly, and
they
posted
all
on
wanted to post that to
Instagram,
Instagram.
Snapchat,
Yep.
yes, all of it.
Yeah, so I'm like, there you go. There's proof that you were up there. I said, let's take pictures of whatever group you want. You want one with just one of your friends? We'd take a big group picture. We took separate pictures.
Very nice.
So however you guys want it. We're at the top of the mountain. There you go.
Yeah, that's wonderful. What mountain did you hike?
Sawyer Mountain, and it went from Limerick to Leamington. So
Oh,
we went
nice.
from one side over the top to the other side.
Oh, how fun is that? Because that makes it feel like a journey.
Yeah, it was a lot longer than we thought it was going to be.
Yes, they always are.
We thought about 3 hours, and it was about 4.5.
Yeah, well, an hour and a half longer is not that bad. But yeah, anytime you plan for a hike and you think, oh, it's not going to take all day, wrong.
Yeah, but it was great. It really was great.
Yeah.
So, and we did that with our, so we did the sleepover Friday night, and we had 2 people donated tents, and we really said, okay, here you go, set them up. And the girls worked really well together to put their tents up. And then, we did the campfire cooking, and then we went on the hike the next day, and then we played some games. We were going to sleep over a second night, but they were calling for thunder showers.
Right.
So
and
everybody went home.
Nobody needs lightning. Blah. That's great. And isn't that, it's funny because in interior meetings and indoor meetings, often kids don't get along, but you get them outside and you get them doing things together, and it happens. Magic. So
it really was good.
That's that continued reinforcement that doing these community service projects this year are definitely a good strategy for them, because they'll be working on something side by side, and it'll get their focus off of each other.
And then I thought to try to make it more girl-led is to put 1 or 2 girls in charge of, okay, you need to call and set up what our next month's community service will be.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because we definitely have had a hard time trying to get them to be girl-led.
Right. Well, and to take those next steps, yeah.
Because in the meeting, they have great ideas, but parents are awful at getting back to us.
Right.
And, again, they're at that prickly age. So the Sunday morning before a meeting, the other leader would get 2 or 3 texts, and I would get 1 or 2 texts of, what are we doing today? My daughter doesn't know if she wants to come.
Oh, no way. Oh, my
Oh,
goodness.
every single time. And, we try and set out, we need you to register by certain dates.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, well, I'm not sure, I'll get back to you. So then we're calling parents, we're texting, we have a Facebook page for our troop, and it's, we need to know, are you coming or not coming? And
yeah, that's rough. And, isn't that an example of parents not really getting the opportunity that the girls have with the troop?
right.
With the getting girls to take the lead, you might just have the list of community service projects that they've brainstormed so far, or that they've come up with so far based on past experience and interests and whatever, and add a couple of extra lines, and then have lines next to each one of, we need 2 girls to take the lead on each of these, and taking the lead will involve calling the organization, it'll involve calling each other to say, here's what you need to bring, or, whatever. And, it's not a, do you want to? And it's not a, I'm telling you, you have to do these, but which ones are you going to do? Because these are the ones you said you wanted to do. Which ones do you want to take the lead on? And,
Yeah.
And then if there are a couple that nobody signs up for, it's like, oh, no, nobody signed up to take the lead on this one. Should we not do this one? And they'll either say, no, we've got to do that one, or yeah, we don't care about that one. So, that's another opportunity right there for girl leadership, because they're choosing what they want to be the lead on. And then for the first couple of girls at least, I would practice with the whole group how to make those phone calls, because 10, 11, 12, 13, 14-year-olds don't typically call adults. And so they kind of freak out at the idea of it. I know grown-ups who freak out at the idea of it. But if as a group you do some practice phone calls of, hi, Mr. Ranger, I need to know, I'm from Troop 537 and we're coming to do, and just go through sort of the script. And I actually had one girl, we did that kind of coaching. She was calling a disc jockey, and we did that kind of coaching in our meeting. And then all 8 of us sat around her as she called the DJ, and she asked him all the questions that we'd all come up with. And she'd get a little coaching from the girls if she forgot to say please or thank you.
Oh, nice.
Well, it was hilarious because here she was a 7th grader, so more than capable of talking on the phone, but she had never called an adult man to ask to employ him. Surprise. And so as a grown-up, you kind of think, well, of course, it's just a phone call. But as a 7th grade kid, that's terrifying. And so having all of us around her, it was darling, and it was so fun. And when she got off the phone, we were like, yay, you did so well at this, 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 and this. And it was really neat. It was a cool growth opportunity, not only for her, but for the other girls to see that she didn't bleed out of her eyes when she did it, So it was okay.
It can be done. Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah. So I'm going to stop the recording because I want to be able to post this, but we can continue to talk.